And then suddenly there was a telegram. It was from Mrs. Hardy, saying she would be coming down to see me that morning. I couldn't understand why or what. When Mrs. Hardy came in looking dreadfully worried and harassed, she says, "My husband doesn't know I am here, but I've just had to come." And from then she went on to say that I mustn't go to London, because she knew that that her husband would want to come to the dressing rooms. He'd want to see the play very often. And at his age and with his reputation, it would be very bad for him, and it would be more or less his ruin. So I mustn't go. I didn't know what to say, because I didn't understand at all what she was talking about, since she had been the prime mover all of the way through. I became a little frightened because I knew she was terribly upset. Then she told me that he was in a very upset state and he mustn't be worried in this way at his age. And then, to my surprise, she said, "He's written a poem to you, but I've torn it up. I burnt it." I was just puzzled. I wanted to say, "What are you talking about?" but I just stayed dumb. And then she said, "Well, my husband doesn't know I'm here." And she repeated that several times. And then she went, and she was still upset.
The chapter which tells my story of these years will be of my making. I shall call it Life's Decline. It will contain a mention of the Hardy players and how they performed Tess, and how a production was later done in London, but with Gwen, Frank and Davis in the leading part. Sybil Thorndike had decided she was too old to play the part. After he is dead, I shall spend more time in town. I shall take a flat there. Hats, frocks, and meeting old friends like dear Barry and young Mr. Sassoon. I shall be F.E. Hardy, author of The Life of Thomas Hardy. Anyone will tell you that before you can become anything of a Hardy scholar, mine is the main text to purchase.
Well, I don't know, I've never been a second wife. My sister has. But Thomas Hardy said they'd be a queer class of womankind. The second wives be a queer class of womankind. That was about Mrs. Day. I dare say she's upstairs, dusting the second best china.
Oh, Mrs. Bugler, quite a nice person, really. Such a shame she never reached the bright lights. So I thought in the years after T.H. died, what with my contacts in town, that it should be possible.
In 1931, 3 years after Hardy's death, Gertrude did go to London to act Tess at the Duke of York's Theatre among an otherwise professional cast for a 6-week run. They put up her name in lights as Hardy's own Tess.
These venerable philosophers seem to start wrong. They cannot get away from a prepossession that the world must somehow have been made to be a comfortable place for man. In those days one could hear them, long skirts, hear them sooner than one can these days. On my walk this morning, I noticed raindrops clinging to cobwebs which had been fashioned as if overnight between the twigs. There was a watery look south over Weymouth, and I could see Golden Cap. Out there, space curved like the cheeks of a young woman as she turns towards you, smiling.
The Real Tess was written and introduced by Elizabeth North. The part of Thomas Hardy was played by Benjamin Whitrow and Florence by Carol Molam, with the voice of Gertrude Bugler. The programme was produced in Bristol by Brian Miller.